Hi, this is Sandra Walker, and I just wanted to talk about what has been happening in the skies and in your world over the last month. We are moving towards Pluto moving into Aquarius on the 20th of November. And last month in October, we had three majorly significant events happening, which may have left you wondering what the hell is going on. So I just wanted to do a video to touch on those topics, so that it might help you to reflect upon the last month and to see where it's taking you when Pluto moves into Aquarius. So last month at the very beginning of the month, we had the solar eclipse in Libra. And this solar eclipse created a stellium. Stellium is the term given to three or more planets being in conjunction with each other. So they're right next to each other, and therefore they're having a pretty significant impact on each other. Now, obviously, the sun and the moon were conjunct each other, which is why this was a solar eclipse. But we also had Mercury in the mix there. We had the South Node, and we had Lilith and Juno join in as well. With the sun and the moon hanging out with the South Node, topics were highlighted that we were ready to let go of. And because Mercury is in that mix too, it's bringing into the mix topics that we're ready to let go of the thoughts and the subconscious patterns that are not serving us. The thoughts that are creating our reality, the thoughts that we allow to take charge in our lives. And those thoughts may have had a lot to do with relationships, because this solar eclipse was happening in Libra, which highlights relationships. And within those relationships, we may have felt triggers around feeling on the outside looking in, feeling rejected, feeling like you don't fit in, feeling like you don't belong. This is where Lilith has been bringing her energy to that space. And we also then had Juno, who highlights where we have made commitments in our lives that may not have been in alignment with our true, authentic self. Here's Lilith again. And so the overall picture was one of seeing the commitments that you've made, understanding that you made them from a place of wanting to fit in, of not really owning your true authentic self as Lilith does, but instead trying to fit in with the narrative of society, and or more intimate relationships, maybe the narratives of family, maybe the narratives of your intimate partnership relationships, your immediate family that you're raising at the moment, if that is the case with you, or friendship groups. It could be the narrative of where we have rejected certain aspects of ourselves in order to fit in with friendship groups. Maybe just one particular friendship, or maybe this is a pattern. We're working with Mercury here, and so it's those continuous thought patterns that we live by and that we act from that are no longer serving us. Our South Node that we have maybe brought through into this lifetime, or developed at a very early point, again, our South Node, and that have left us feeling rejected or on the outside. And of course, if we actually analyze that, it is our own selves that has been doing the rejecting. You know, when we choose to operate from a non-authentic place, then we're actually choosing to reject a part of ourselves that we don't feel is acceptable to whatever it is that we're trying to achieve. And so what seems to have been highlighted over this period of time is where we are actually rejecting ourselves and the reality that that has created in our lives. And Libra beautifully gave us the opportunity to see this from a balanced perspective. And so situations may have arisen that you perceived from your old way of perceiving, your old way of processing thought. But you were also being gifted the insight into the fact that this was your perception of your own making, and that was based on your thought patterns. And what Libra also offered was where that is no longer, that energy no longer exists in your life. So where you've actually already broken the chain reaction by the work that you've been doing since the nodes entered the Aries Libra axis. And so with all of that work that you've been doing, that maybe you felt around this solar eclipse, and it may not have hit right on the solar eclipse, it may have waited until Pluto went direct in Capricorn to really fully surface. But it's the same theme that you have been working on this nodal axis. And so you may have got to the point of thinking, here we go again. But in actual fact, you were getting to see the reality that you had created for yourself from those survival patterns, and the reality that you have been creating for yourself from the inner work that you've been doing with this nodal axis. And so you have the beautiful balance there. You know, Libra showing you relationships, but also showing you the opposites of those relationships, those types of relationships in your life. And what you may have found with Mercury in the mix also is that you felt a need to communicate. So rather than following your old patterns of perceiving, feeling triggered, feeling whatever those negative feelings that arose were, and going off and licking your wounds and trying to resolve it internally, you may have felt the impetus to actually enter into conversations that may have felt too uncomfortable before this point. And then we had, on the 12th of October, we had Pluto turn direct. And as I said, that's where this energy seemed to really ramp up. Pluto has been in Capricorn since 2008. So again, although the intensity of these themes has been very much at the forefront since the nodes moved into the Aries Libra axis, much of these themes began much earlier than that and have evolved over that time, probably unconsciously for a reasonable amount of that time, but becoming more conscious as the time went on. Pluto in Capricorn went direct at 29 degrees, and so this is the end of this particular era. And so it needed to go out with a bang. It needed to make sure that any of the work not yet done was done before it moves into Aquarius on the 20th of November. And then we moved into a full moon in Aries on the 17th of October. And this, following on from those themes, following on from that processing that was taking place, began to show you how you can shine a light on your true, authentic self and be okay with that. And be more than okay with that. Be really content and happy with that. And the more you're moving towards those beautiful relationships that you have been creating and nurturing since doing all of this internal work, the more you are able to accept yourself for who you are. And the more you're able to accept yourself for who you are, the more of these beautiful relationships come into your sphere. And so the Aries full moon really just helped to highlight the beauty and perfection of who you actually are, with all of your flaws, and with all of your strengths, and with all that is unique about you. We're moving into a new era of Pluto in Aquarius, and Pluto in Aquarius is going to show us the transformational qualities of being in community, and also the shadow side of being in community, the shadow side of humanity, the shadow side of working together. With Pluto in Capricorn all of this time, it has been showing us the evolution and transformation of the systems that we were born into, the hierarchical systems, the power-based systems that have been ingrained in our lives. And it has showed us where transformation is possible within those. Now we get to see where transformation is possible in a more evolved humanity. But that means really knowing who you are in order to remain grounded in your own being while being of service to the collective. And that is not always an easy thing to do. So Pluto and Capricorn has been preparing us, has been delayering us of the conditioning that we had been holding on to, that made us continue to feel safe by fitting in, by denial of true self. And we have come to the climax of that process of releasing the need for safety over freedom, safety as part of something over freedom to be yourself. And of course, it then moves back out into being a part of something, but it's being a part of something from a genuine and authentic place, so that what you feed back out into the community that you're a part of is powerful and necessary and complementary to that which you are receiving. They are my thoughts on the astrology that has been taking place, and I hope that this may help you in your own reflective process to really make sense of what has been going on for you in the last month with regards to relationships, with regards to your sense of self, and where the medicine is, if you haven't already worked through to the other side of this really intense energy. We are in Scorpio season, and therefore you will be supported in the transformational process. You'll be supported in really digging deep into the subconscious level of this experience. If you haven't come out the other side of that yet, then maybe the themes that I've spoken about, maybe you can explore where they have touched you and possibly wounded you in the last month. And maybe some journaling and some deep inner reflection might help you to finally come out the other side. I hope this reaches you where you are and helps you to get to where you need to go. All my love. Bye for now.